Good morning, everyone. I think we need to set our clocks. We're a little behind, I think. Anyways, welcome everyone to Unity Spiritual Center of Spokane. Those of you here, those of you at the barista stand, those of you online, we are glad that you're here. It's a beautiful day. And yeah, it's good. We are about transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. I'm Jeff Tawney. I'll be your platform assistant this morning. And the first order of business is to ask everyone to make sure that you silence your phones or your iPads or your tablets or beepers or whatever you might have. If you'll take a moment to do that. As we do our opening affirmation, we'll do it together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good. Unity's foundation principle, one presence, one power, one life, living through and as each one of us. This morning, she's back. She's sitting there, quiet meditation, and I see this little smile come across. Anyways, we're happy to have our minister, spiritual leader, Reverend Bonnie is back. And her message today, appropriately, is up for grabs. And so I'm anxious to hear about that, especially in light of the grab bags that we had yesterday at the River Conference. I'll talk more about that later on. We also have our women's ensemble. They'll be supporting our music today. So we have a couple of numbers from them. And Monica and Julia will be up here as our song leaders, followed by Chaplain Theodora, who will also do our reading and opening prayer. All right, so song leaders. And Scott.
Good morning. The following reading is it's an excerpt from the blog Spirit View, which is written by Evan Mellenbacher, a Christian Science practitioner and teacher from Kennewick, Washington. The title, The Certainty of the Good Life. Many people feel uncertain about the future. They worry about staying healthy, what they eat, how to stay fit, catching a contagious disease, holding on to their job, finding peace of mind, actions of officials in office, and the climate change. Anxiety, depression, and fear seem to rule the day for many, but it doesn't need to be that way. Life is not a haphazard, uncertain roll of the dice. It is not at the mercy of chance, risk, or the whims of time. Understood spiritually, life is God. God is life. And this life is all good. There isn't anything uncertain about it. We can all choose to live the good life. Jesus Christ has shown us how to do it. He taught us to be faithful to the 10 Commandments, live the Sermon on the Mount, the Golden Rule, love God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. We can live the good life. We can strengthen our morals, spiritualize thought, pray, listen, and follow God's direction as it comes. The mind of God will always tell us what we need to know. Our life with God is a certain thing. It's fixed, ours forever to enjoy. There is no better time to live it than now. So now let us prepare for prayer by taking in a couple of deep breaths. Hold it and then release. And now, let us bask in the love of God, giving gratitude for this eternal divine provision. Divine mind is the only mind. In truth, there are not many individual minds. That is just illusion, no more real than the images on the movie screen. There is only one presence, one power, one activity, God the good, omniscient. We can rely on it, trust it, expect only good in every aspect of our lives. Health, abundance, relationships, government. Mind is the only government. The Bible tells us to pray without ceasing. We do that by staying in gratitude as we go about our daily lives. We give thanks for beauty. God is beauty. We give thanks for music. God is music. We give thanks for each other because we know that God is expressing through each and every one of us. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for helping us to stay in the consciousness of your love. We can rest assured that you made everything that is and called it very good. And so it is. Amen.
tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. Alive in this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love.
Good morning, Unity Spiritual Center Spokane. You're so beautiful. Whether you are here for the very first time today or have been coming for years or decades, you are welcome here. And for those of you online, we thank you for tuning in and for being with us. And it is our prayer and our hope that you consider us as your spiritual community. So good morning to everyone. Before I start, I want to give a big shout out to the master, Reverend David McClure, who did a magnificent job in my absence and is the best of the best. So wherever you are, David, thank you so much. And before I dive into the very weird talk we're going to have today, I would like us to get grounded within ourselves and grounded within this beautiful energy field that we share together. And so to do that, I'd like you just to take a moment and close your eyes and just feel your feet on the ground, on this holy, sacred, powerful ground. And then I'd like you to feel energetically the edges of your body, where the skin meets the invisible. And now take a moment and just feel your heart and notice if it is open or closed and to what degree. And you and I have the capacity to breathe into our heart and to expand it. And now take a moment and see the light in your third eye. And now open your eyes and turn to your neighbor, and with a full-bodied experience, say, "I'm so glad you're here." And now take a moment and just feel the energy in the room. And I have been here a little over a year now. My vacation was during my year. And what attracted me to this community was the energy field that's in this room. It is within each one of us, or it couldn't be in this room. But what we do together when we're in this space and we remember who we are is so powerful that I just want us to take a moment and drink in that energy that sustains life itself. Thank you. And today I'm going to be talking about grab bags. Actually, 3 vignettes. So I was on vacation and I didn't know what I would be called to speak about when I returned. So I just threw up my arms and said, how about grab bags? You know, when I was a little kid, I loved them. My sister and I used to go to Fred Meyer with 25 cents or $1, and we would buy multiple grab bags, and we would open them up, and we could hardly wait to share what was in those grab bags with each other because we had no idea what it would be. And sometimes it was fingernail polish, and sometimes lipstick, and sometimes something that we had no desire to have. And all of that was part of the fun. And so what I decided in my talk today was that I was going to bring to us 3 different grab bags, or 3 small vignettes of truth that I have experienced in these last 3+ weeks. And before I do that, I want to say that the abundance team in our community right now is really looking hard at receiving. And so for any of you who would like to be in a spiritual dialogue about abundance, and you're curious about what receiving feels like, looks like, or can be expanded, know that it is free and know that you're available to attend on every other Tuesday, and the next one is on Halloween. So what I bring to you is what I've received, and then, as I've said in talks before, I can only give it to you because I've received it first. And so receiving is such an active part of being in the flow. And so if you feel like you could use some guidance, help, and support in that area, then I really encourage you to go and play with the abundance team as they explore that idea. All right, so the first vignette I'm going to share with you is a dream that I had Saturday morning, and I called it the diner dream. And in this dream, as a background, a large part of my ministry in my whole adult life for the last 30+ years of my ministry has been working with entrepreneurs and community leaders, business leaders. And I've been working with them to expand their consciousness that they may expand their business. And so this is an active part of who I am. It's a part of myself that clearly I'm missing because I'm dreaming about it. But that's a background and context for who I am and the experience of this dream. So in this dream, I walk into a diner, and the diner is filled with 30-year-old plus, 30-ish entrepreneurs. And they're sitting around and they're having the conversation of how do they do their personal finances. You know, that's like a quandary. There's a lot of activity as an entrepreneur, and there's a lot of balls in the air and a lot of things to think about. And they're like, I just don't understand. How do I do my personal finances? And so they see me walk in the door and they say, that lady knows the answer. And they call me over to their table, and I say, well, first of all, you always pay yourself first. There's no exception to that rule. You pay yourself first because the person who has dreamed up the business, the person who has the skill and talent, the person who is the cornerstone must be fully supported in order for the business to support itself. And the irony is we think that we pay all vendors first and we pay ourselves last, and then what happens is that there often isn't anything. But once you pay yourself first, there's always excess at the end. It's bizarre, but it's true. So I'm telling these young'uns, I'm saying, okay, you guys, the deal is you always pay yourself first. And then I go over to someone's plate of mashed potatoes. It's a dream, remember? And I take a spoon and I take out 1/10 of the mashed potatoes and I plop it on their plate. And I say, and then from your personal finance, 10% goes to where you're spiritually fed. And they're all looking at me, and I've got these potatoes in my hand in the diner. And I said, and if you're too scared to do 10, do 1 or 2 or 3, but start the activity of giving to where you're spiritually fed. And this is why. You have to train yourself to trust the universe. How you trust the universe is you give and you trust that it's going to be utilized in a way that feeds the spirit of an individual. It's also the only way that spiritual leaders make their income. If you want spirit on the planet, then you give. And then the other thing I said to them is this bit that you give up front guarantees you'll always have potatoes in the kitchen. Okay? Then I take the lion's share of the mashed potatoes, put them on the plate, and I say, and this goes to pay all your bills. But this is the deal. For the spiritual giving you do, and for the paying of your bills, you have to love it. Any money is energy. And I said to them, if you pay your bills resenting they're so high, if you pay your bills mad or angry because you don't think that this bill is just in some way, whatever you bring to that energy, I'm saying with this potato in my hand, whatever you're bringing to that energy is what you're going to ingest. It's who you're going to become. It's what you're putting out in the world, and it's what's going to come back to you. So the deal is, in both the 10% and in the bills, you get to practice loving it. Practice loving the art of giving. Practice being grateful that you have electricity and water and homes and cars and gas and everything that we pay our bills for. Then on this plate was a couple scoops of potatoes that were left. And I said, now this is your potatoes to do anything you want with. You can eat it, you can share it, you can freeze dry it and save it for later, AKA investing, saving, right? You can share it with a friend, and you can use it in a recipe in the future. So whatever you want to do, you get full say over that last bit of potato. And so the entrepreneurs are sitting there and scratching their head and thinking a little bit. And then they point to a cup of coffee and say, so what is a cup of coffee? Thank you, Jeff. And is there a message in the coffee? And I said, of course there is. And I said, coffee isn't just coffee. Coffee connects people to each other. It brings people together. Coffee warms our body temples. Coffee gives some people a jolt. Coffee activates a memory in our, what's it called, olfactory senses, in our smelling, that brings back all kinds of just luscious, yummy things for a lot of people. And then when I was on my trip, I was on a safari with 16 people, and in the morning, I swear those people thought that coffee was God in liquid form. And I would say it is. I would say it is. And the way they ingested that coffee was such a sacred ritual. I was like, dang, that was really moving to me. Okay, so I'm saying to these entrepreneurs, coffee is not just coffee. And then I look at them and I say, and this, everything I taught you this morning, this is the genesis of metaphysics. This is the definition of metaphysics. Metaphysics is a division of philosophy that's concerned with the fundamental nature of reality and being, and it includes ontology, cosmology, and I say this to myself really well, epistemology, okay? So let's learn some big words together and maybe someone can pronounce them for me. But ontology means the nature of being. So we are a metaphysical center, we're a mystical center, we're a spiritual center, and we come together to study the nature of being. And we believe in our nature of being, and I know it for certain. So we're in different stages of awareness, but I know for certain that all there is one here. And that is what our ontology is, the nature of being. The nature of being is there's one energy that expresses in many different ways. Cosmology means the origins of the universe, and then epistemology, I said it in my head right, thank you, Sally. Epistemology is the investigation of a belief versus an opinion. Whew. So I'm saying to the individuals here at the diner, once you understand that life is multidimensional, a cup of coffee is not a cup of coffee, and mashed potatoes aren't mashed potatoes. All right, that's lesson number 1. Grab bag number 1. Okay, grab bag number 2, this is a vignette about this woman named Dame Daphne Sheldrick. And she created an elephant orphanage over in Kenya back in 1977. It's called the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, and they do a lot more than just taking care of orphaned elephants, but that's their mainstay, and that's what they're really known for. And so back in 1977, her husband died very young, and so she, loving animals, stepped in and became the mother of an orphanage for elephants. And in this orphanage, what she came to realize is that 100 elephants are killed every single month in Kenya for their tusks. The mother elephants are killed in front of their babies, and their babies experience immense trauma. Elephants behave and act a lot like humans. So these babies are traumatized, and their life depends on living from their mother's milk. And so once the mother's died, there's 48 hours to get this little baby to the orphanage where Dame Sheldrick has worked for a long time to figure out a recipe that is a milk that these elephants can indeed ingest. And the minute they land at the orphanage, they are fed milk. That's the first thing that happens. And then she has realized that in order for an elephant to thrive and go back into the wild, they need to learn what it's like to be an elephant, but they first must be in family. So there's a whole bunch of workers there who become their surrogate mothers, and they sleep with the elephants, and they feed the elephants, and they play with the elephants. And what she learned is that elephants get really attached to those who tend to them, and so they have to rotate those who tend to them, because if they get too attached to one person and that person takes vacation, they die. And so they rotate this love. They've got this community of love that rotates to take care of these baby elephants. And then what ends up happening, as soon as the elephants start getting some of their own esteem, then they start caring for each other. And it's this beautiful thing to watch an emotionally damaged elephant connect with someone who is less emotionally damaged than they are and love on each other, and both of them thrive. And so what happens when these babies come in, and this is so much like us, like humans, is some who are traumatized are so angry and want to kill, and they have to be separated and loved into being part of the population. And then the others are so damaged they want to wither and die. So you've got those polarities that we've talked about before that happens when someone or something experiences the phenomena of being broken. So these guys love themselves as a community back to life, back to thriving. And then eventually they go out into the wild and they find tribes who adopt them. And then anytime anyone in their clan, in their group, in their community, any elephant becomes injured in any way, they walk them back to this orphanage to get care. So they have the internal knowing that this is a place that helps the elephant. And so one of the women on the trip that I went with, she was a grieving traveler. That's what I'm going to call her, a grieving traveler. And she showed up the first day, and we had our first safari, and she couldn't go. She couldn't walk. To get to her room, someone had to push her in a wheelchair. She was not able. And nobody knew her. We all were strangers. And one of the ladies in our group said, I'm going to stay behind and take care of her. And the two of them became fast and furious friends. And any meal that we ate together, you could hear them just cracking up and laughing and just having a really great time. And I watched this woman who was so incredibly physically feeble come back to life and become filled with joy again. And her story was she had a partner of 29 years who died. And her partner always wanted to marry her, and she didn't want to get married because she didn't want to ruin a good thing. And so once he died, the family swooped in and said, you weren't married, and took over. And the house got sold and she got kicked out, and she went from having a home with somebody she loved to living in a one-bedroom rented somewhere on the other side of town. So she lost a good portion of her life, if you want to say it that way. What happened, she said, was she decided she wanted to live again. And because she wanted to live again, she booked a safari so she could go be amongst the animals. Day one, she was in a wheelchair and unable. By the time we got to Sheldrake Trust, she had a lot more energy, a lot more capability, and she was so sweet. We went swimming together, and she said, I knew I really wanted to live when I bought a bathing suit. Like, I knew I wanted to, right? We all know that story. And so she was so excited about life, and she gets to this Sheldrake Elephant Sanctuary. And these wounded, healing, expanding, loving elephants in 1 hour loved her back to wholeness. They knew how to do it. And they saw her, and they saw who she was, and the thing that was so beautiful is she received it. She was able to receive the love of these elephants, and she changed. She took in the energy, she took photos, she talked about it, she shared it. She changed, and she looked, by the time that we had left the safari, 20 years younger. And when I said goodbye to her at the airport, she had walked the entire distance of an international airport on her own. So, right? So what I learned from this experience, and we've talked about this before, but this woman's vision, she's not alive any longer, but her vision continues, her dream continues, and it's a dream of love and healing. And here is a woman who will never meet the originator of that dream, who flies across the world and steps into that field and receives the gifts of it and becomes transformed. And so what I see is the power of a dream, what I see is the power of love, and what I know is that it passes all time and space. Daphne Sheldrake didn't have to be there for this beautiful woman to become whole again, but she did have to plant the seed for the organization to happen, for her to step into it. So it was one of those things where I could see time and space collide and something incredibly beautiful happen. That's vignette number 2. And then lastly, my third vignette is about Jimmy Buffett. Because grab bags don't have to be consistent, just saying. So So on my trip, I got this U.S. Weekly on Jimmy Buffett's life. You know these when they like give you the lowdown. And I had read his book, A Pirate Turns 50, back in the day. I've been a fan of his for a while. And I just wanted to share some insights from his life. He gave a talk, a commencement speech in 2015 at the University of Miami. And in that speech, he said to the graduating students, "This is my advice. Everything in moderation." And the Buddhists would say, the middle road, right? This is very high spiritual stuff, even though it's coming from Jimmy Buffett and in a different language. But it's everything in moderation. Make your avocation your vocation, right? Do what you be, okay? See the world, and be Santa Claus when you can. Giving, back to giving. So on his deathbed, he said to his daughter, "Keep the party going." And to her, that meant her father loved being alive on this planet so much that to her, keep the party going meant continue to live fully. And then he said to his youngest sister on his deathbed, "Have fun." And I read that and I went, oh my gosh, my dad, when he passed, didn't have time to give last words on his deathbed. But if he did, what he would have said to me was take care of somebody. So he would have told me to take care of my daughter or take care of my sister, or, I would have been, his last words, I imagine, would have been take care of somebody and work hard. So when Jimmy Buffett's last words to his sister and his daughter are have fun, I was like, oh my goodness, in the infinite universe, I can change my messaging anytime I want, right? And I started thinking on my deathbed, what am I going to say to people? Who am I going to be? What is my message going to be that I share? And then next week, we're doing a big, huge celebration of loving those who are no longer with us in form. It is the Day of the Dead celebration. We will talk about and share from our hearts those who we loved, who were in our life and aren't in our life any longer. It will be a community event. It will be ritual. We will have a mariachi band. It will be uplifting, and it is absolutely a delicious service. Last year, it was our most attended service. And so invite friends, invite those who you think could really enjoy and benefit honoring someone who went before them. So a few announcements before we pray and go into meditation is that I decided starting this upcoming Tuesday in 2 days at noon, I'm going to do meditations again for 45 minutes, and then we usually talk afterwards for 15. But I'm going to be doing meditations in the chapel for a love offering. You're all welcome to come. It'll be through the end of the year, Tuesdays at noon. And then the first 2 Wednesdays of November and December, Scott is working on this most amazing daytime gathering around music. And there'll be more of that information coming out. And lastly, I just wanted to plant the seed and let you know that I'll be working with Al, and we are going to put together a 3-month chaplain training. And that will begin mid-February. And so if you feel like you want to learn what it is like to be a chaplain and you want to be of service in that way, the predominant training will be in consciousness, and then there'll be some in form, like how you get up at a microphone or like serving at a hospital. So there will be the whole gamut of it, and if you feel called to that, just keep that and bring it into your prayers and meditation, and know that we would welcome you. So let's pray and meditate. So I just give thanks that God is in mashed potatoes and coffee, and that that there is an energy field in this universe that heals, reveals, makes whole when we are ready. And I give thanks for the wisdom and the words that were spoken by Theodora today that reminded us that life is to be lived. And so I just speak my word right now as we enter into this meditative state, that we enter with the contemplation of receiving more life energy from the universe, that our field might be more activated. So as we enter into silence together, let's do so, just sitting on the word receptivity or receive. And as we enter into the silent place, don't forget to breathe. And how refreshing it is to pause together. To pause and to imagine, to open to something bigger, something greater, that lives within us, that is our very being. I give thanks for this thing that I call God, and I could call it all kinds of names. I could call it source energy. I could call it life itself. I could call it the one, the only. Whatever name we put upon it, I just give thanks that each one of us is born from it, that it lives within us, and it's available to guide us, to expand us, to connect ourselves with another open being. And that just as the elephants have found each other in community, each one of us here have been brought into community, that we may experience something beyond us and within us, and that experience may be a shared experience of good. And so for everyone at this center who sings the music, who sets up the chairs, who writes newsletters, who leads groups, who does all that they do, I give thanks. I give thanks for each one of us here, each one of us online. I give thanks that this infinite intelligence created us and sustains us. And for this time together of recognition, I give thanks, and so it is. Amen. All right, now is our time to bring out those mashed potatoes and give. Aren't dreams great? All right. So if you're a regular giver, thank you so much. If you are giving today, if you're giving a little more, whatever you're doing, I just give thanks for you and for your generosity. And so I invite you to take that energy of the giving and bring it into your heart. And together we are going to say, I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. And I call those of you forward who are to bless the money with me today. And I know Miss Epistemology is one of them. Anyone who could say that word gets to bless. Anyone else here to join us today? All right, let's go ahead. Yay. And open, keep our hearts open and our hands extended and allow that energy to flow from the very core of our infinite self to the giving. And together we bless this money. And we just give thanks for the generosity that knows they're enough and that they have more than enough to share. And we bless this money as a symbol of the energy that flows through this divine, beautiful, luscious center that we call unity. And so we bless this money. We know that it's used for our children, and it's used for the building, and it's used for the staff, and it's used for programs. And what it's really used for is for the shining forth of that infinite light of God's good into our community. And so in advance, we bless this and we give thanks and we call it good. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So good to have you back. Yes.
Thank you, Reverend Bonnie. Thank you for affirming that my coffee in the morning is sacred. I always knew it would be, and I defended it to the day. Together we say, unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are, and wherever you are on your path of transformation, you are welcomed here. And I noticed there's a lot of here's here today. I want to first welcome and acknowledge our first-time guests, our visitors. If you feel so inclined, if you would raise your hand, we have a little gift for you. We have a little welcome packet which has a coupon to the, yep, thank you. We have coupons for our barista, and Jim, you guys might want to get started early because there's quite a few visitors here today. So want to get ahead of that curve. We thank you for visiting with us today. Those of you online, you're always welcomed here. And even if you've been visiting with us online for months, when you come into this center, it's your first time, and you get a coffee as well. So make sure you let us know. I just made that decision. No, seriously, though, we thank you for joining us. We thank you for being a part of our community, part of the connection, part of the flow, part of the field. However we define it, we're all a part. Not a part, but a part. And we thank you. You can also get more information about our center by scanning the QR code. You can actually even do it from your screen, those of you at home, but you can scan this QR code and that will take you to the sign-up form online that will allow you to sign up for our newsletter. On that, you get one email a week. Unless you're a governing member, then you may get another one. But you get one email a week, and that will tell you about all the events and things that are going on. And from there, you'll have links to where you can sign up for other events and other classes and things like that. You can also go to unityspokane.org and sign up there as well. But please be sure to visit us there. We're out there. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. You can just search Unity Spiritual Center of Spokane and you can find us. So we thank you for joining us. Today, our chaplains are Gary and Murphy. Gary has been holding service for us, in prayer for us today and holding space for each one of us. Murphy, would you stand please, Murphy? Murphy will be available after service for prayer needs. So if you have a need, something on your heart that you wish to share, please come forward after the service. Murphy will be available to pray with you, to talk with you, to comfort you. You can also, there's a card in your seat back if you wish to fill something a bit more, maybe you're a little more private and you want to submit something in writing to our prayer need, you can do so. In the back on the left-hand side there, as you leave, there's a wooden box that you can put your prayer need in that. Those prayer needs are prayed for here locally for 30 days, as well as sent to Silent Unity where they're prayed for there as well. So we take prayer very seriously here. We take your needs and the comforting and the things that you need in your life. We take those very seriously, and we look for those in the prayers. So please be sure to do that. Okay, so it's time for news you can use. And I have someone that's going to come up and help me do that today. Now I want you to give a welcome. I get the honor and the privilege of introducing you to Tricia Dunlap. Tricia is our new marketing communications person. She's going to be taking on all of that and well. And I have to tell you, I'm impressed because she didn't know I was going to do this to her this morning until she came in. And I said, hey, well, what do you think about doing news you can use? She's like, well, and I said, come on. So she did it. And here she is. So we're going to do this for a couple of weeks together until she gets comfortable. Are you nervous?
A little bit.
That's okay. That's all right. You're entitled to be nervous.
Thank you.
We're going to do this, and then pretty soon you'll see Tricia up here by herself, and you won't have to look at me. So anyways. All right, so I'm going to start off and talking. Reverend Bonnie talked about it, midweek, I should say, midday meditations on every Tuesday. And those will be from 12 to 1 p.m. Done by Love Offering and Reverend Bonnie. I'll let you do the next one.
Wonderful. And then this upcoming weekend, we have the Day of the Dead, which was also spoke about. So I'm very excited to be a part of that this year. That is on October 29th. And I apologize, I'm not seeing the time. At 10 a.m.
At our normal service
At our
time.
normal
That's right.
service
Yeah.
time.
We're excited about that. A lot of things going into the planning. Unfortunately, we did a lot of things while you were gone. And so very excited about it. We were plugging ahead, Reverend Bonnie. So some very exciting things happening in Day of the Dead celebration. Even our kids have been involved as well. The next thing coming up is the governing member voting, which will be happening on November the 5th. If you are a governing member, we ask that you stay after on the service on November the 5th, and we'll be voting on the revised bylaws as well as our new mission, vision, and values. The options will be going out in the email this week, so you'll have an opportunity to choose which one you'd like, but you'll need to be here in person to vote for those. And okay, next.
Okay, wonderful. And something new like myself will be these Wednesday gatherings starting November 1st and November 8th. That first 2 Wednesdays of the month. This will also continue into December. There will be songs and some snacks, and all are welcome.
Bring your
What?
instrument. Yep.
Bring your
And
instrument.
as I
Okay.
understand, on one of them, it's a hootenanny. And you're all invited to bring your instruments.
Great.
All right. And last, it says, welcome, Tricia, but I did that at the first. So
all
anyways,
right.
we're glad you're here. Thank you so much.
Thank
You've been
you
much
so much.
anticipated.
Thank you.
All righty. Now it's time for our children. And I don't see any little heads bob. Oh, here they come. So let's welcome our children. Oh, yeah. He changes it all. I so wish all of you could see this parade coming down and the bounciness and the vibe. It's so wonderful. Anyways, hi kids. Did we have a great morning? Yeah? What is one thing you learned today? Are you getting ready for the celebration next week? Yeah? All right. Look at over here. They get the vocal, the little ones back here, they get the vibe, so we appreciate that. All right, we thank our kids for being here. We thank our parents and our families for bringing them. We're also very grateful and thankful for the workers. And by the way, speaking of workers, if you feel inclined and are interested in serving in our children's department, not necessarily a department, but our children's group, please let us know. We're always open. There's always an opportunity for people to serve and help out. You get to work with some wonderful people and wonderful kids. So we're always looking for help. So anyways, okay, so with our children's blessing, be the love you are, sing the song you hear, share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. All right, thank you so much. And kids, you may return to those that you came with. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Is it visible? Can we go back and look at it? Okay. All righty. Okay, will you all please stand as we do our prayer protection, followed by the peace song.
The light of God surrounds us.